looked at. We're going to continue with it. 2 Corinthians, 5th chapter, verses 16 and 17. And there you find these words recorded. Wherefore, hence know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Christ after the flesh, yet now henceforth know we him no more. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. I would like to use as a subject for the time that we share an old man and a new king. An old man and the new king. There are some commercials on television that advertise men's clothing. Clothing stores, a clothier that talks about putting and buying a new suit, buying a new suit. And the different clothiers, the different commercials really talk about whose suit is better. And they'll say, well, this suit, you try it on, it fits you like a glove. You can come in and you get it, and you'll be in the new style. You know, there are some suits where they have men wearing, the pants are just straight and they're a little bit more tighter, sort of a little bit like the skinny jeans. Yeah. And so they have those kind of suits, and the jackets seem a little small, but that's trendy. That's what's in. And then me being an old school OG kind of guy, I don't necessarily wear that kind of suit. I got on something a little different now. You say it look kind of big, but this, it's a look. It isn't necessarily trendy. It's more traditional. It's that style. But however you want to refer to which suit is better, they talk about a new and an old and a new. They say you come in and put this suit on, and when you walk out, you look like a new man. Well, they say that the saying is that clothes make the man. And I don't know if just putting on a suit changes you. I don't know if that does it. Because whatever went into the suit, when you went in, comes out in the suit. So it really doesn't make you a new man. It might change your appearance, but you're still the same. And so when we talk about putting on taking off the old man, putting on the new man, this old man is where you and I have come from. Amen. You and I have come from where we were, where we didn't know the Lord, we didn't know Christ, we didn't have a hope for tomorrow. We didn't have any of that because that was our old man, our old nature. I hope you've had a change in your nature. I hope that because now you do know Christ. I got anybody out there? If you know Christ, come on, give me a little hand wave. Yeah. So if you know Christ, that means you no longer are what you used to be, that you ought to be something different now because you put on the new man. In other words, you have a new king. You didn't know you had a king when you were an old man, did you? Yeah, you had a king. His name was Satan. His name was the devil. He was the adversary. That's whom you really worshipped. That's whom you showed your allegiance to. But now that you know Christ, you got a new king. He's the head of your life. You serve him. You live for him. We are subject to his authority. So we have a new king. We put aside the old man. At least I hope we put aside the old man. If we still get enjoyment out of the old things, then we really have to look at our conversion. Have we been converted? Have we had a change in mind, a change in heart, a change in spirit? If we've had that change, then we really do have a new king. Long live the king in my life. I'm so glad that Jesus lives. He's alive. Somebody ought to know he's not dead. He's alive. He's no longer in the tomb. He is alive. And where does he live? He lives right here. He ought to live in me. And you ought to see some Jesus in me. I ought to look at you and I ought to see some Jesus. Because if you are his, then something ought to show that you're his. The Bible makes it clear. It says, let your light so shine before men that it glorifies your Father in heaven. You know, I might have some tears in my eyes. But at the end of the day, they aren't tears of being afraid. They aren't tears of being unhappy. They're tears of joy. Why am I so joyful now? Because I got the Lord on my side. David said, don't take away the joy of my salvation. In other words, because we're saved, we ought to be joyful. We ought to be happy. Why are you happy? Why are you joyful? Because you don't have to look at the world the same way you did when you had that old man. You had that old nature, that old king. You ought to see the world differently now. Can I be the first to say there were times then when I felt like giving up? I wanted to pull the card on the train so I could stop it, so I could get off. The world was spinning, going round and round. It's doing what it normally do 24/7. But I wanted to put the brakes on the world. Stop. I got to get off. Anybody done like that? You just wanted to say, forget all that. Forget all that. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. There were times when the shades didn't get drawn in the morning. There were times when the phone didn't get answered. There were times when knock came at the door and the door didn't get open. I just didn't want to deal with it. Oh man, I had a flashback. I had a flashback. Any yeah, well, they over here, they might remember that name, Lenny Williams. You know, Lenny, I didn't even know how I felt. But Lenny, you know, I used to hear that song, and I was like, man, why you begging? But I realized he was just pouring his heart into it. And when you love something so much, you ought to pour your heart into it. And there were times when none of those things got answered. But when I came into a relationship with the Lord, I can face the day. I may not want to get up out of bed, but I know I got to face the day, but I'm not alone. I got the Lord on my side. So when Paul talks about, wherefore hence know we no more, no man after the flesh, we can't continue to live like we lived. If you are a believer, there ought to be something that says, things are not going to be the same as they were then. Then we were broke, we were down, we were busted, we were disgusted. Yeah, you might think you that way now, but at the end of the day, let me encourage you to know you got some help. We've already said that the Lord is a very present help in trouble. But we also know that the Lord will come and see about us. Anybody know that the Lord has come and already wiped some tears from your eyes? He's been a strong tower. He's been a ground that you can walk on and not feel like you're going to just fall in and cave in. The Lord will sustain you even when you think there's no way out. It's been times when I said, no, there's no way. But the Lord sustains. So we no longer run after the flesh. We no longer deal with some of those things. Now, let's put a pin right here. It ain't perfect, y'all. It ain't going to be perfect right now. It ain't going to be perfect until we're with the Lord. But right now, we got to deal with some stuff. We're going to have some encounters. We're going to have some bad days. We're going to have some rough nights, some sleepless days. But when we count it all joy that the Lord is going to take us through this, and on the other side of trouble, I'm waiting to get to the other side of trouble. On the other side of trouble, the Lord's going to make things well with our soul. And so he's going to make it well. So we no longer travel. We no longer go after the flesh. Though now we know Christ. We know Christ because we no longer have to worry about how we're going to make it. You know, that song about how you made it over. God will allow you. He will allow me. He will allow us to make it over. And sometimes it looks like you never get over. You know, I want to say what the kids say. They said they're going on a trip. Kids say, "Are we there yet?" Can I help y'all out? We ain't there yet. But we're on the journey. And I said in Bible study, sometimes you got to really, you heard this before, enjoy the journey. Yeah. I know it's rough. I know sometimes you don't want to enjoy the journey, but where God is taking you, you got to enjoy that. You know why you got to enjoy it? Because He's with you. Amen. Anytime God is with you, you got to feel some joy in your heart. In spite of all this happens, the arrows, the darts that the enemy will throw, you got to have some joy that says, yeah, I'm going to make it through this. You know, it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers, against rulers of darkness and high places. We wrestle against principalities. All that is true. But you know, sometimes we ought to just tell the devil, you ain't took me out yet. You ought to tell the adversary, I'm still in this thing. And don't be confused. Don't look at no pitchfork, no horns, no tail, no red suit. Sometimes the devil, y'all look to your left, look to your right. Look behind you. Sometimes that devil looks just like, okay, y'all get the point. But we've got to overcome that because of who is inside of us. So henceforth no more that we glory and run after men, but we know Christ. He says in verse 17, therefore, it means now. Yeah. From this point on, now, if any man be in Christ, it says if. That's a small word, if, small word, 2 letters, but it carries a big meaning. It says if. And let me help you out. If you had not gotten up this morning, if you had not taken the breath, breathing in and out, if you didn't have any friends in the world. Now you say, oh, just a little small word, but look at the meaning that it carries. You know, it's a powerful word. And so, if you know Christ, if any man be in Christ, it has made a big leap, a big jump, because of all the immenseness of the word. It now makes it possible that if you are in Him, He says you are a new creature. He is a new creature. This really means a new birth, a new beginning. It means a new attitude, a new way to look at things, a new way that not only are tears wiped from your eyes, but a new way that you are no longer bound and hogtied, no longer held prisoner by what could have kept you bound forevermore. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, we've been set free. We've been set free. We mentioned the other day a story about Paul Bunyan, John Bunyan, I should say. Paul, yeah. He was a preacher, a minister, and he had, back in the early times of serving Christ, and earlier centuries, he had the option of being released from prison. And they told him, you can be released anytime, any day, but the only thing we require is that you don't talk about Christ. You don't preach Christ anymore. So they said, you can be set free from your prison. Now, Bunyan had a wife, he had a daughter. The daughter was blind. She needed him. And there are times in life when we have to be by people that we love, we need them. But Bunyan said this. He says, I'm not going to stop preaching Christ. So he died in prison. He died because he said, I'd rather serve God than be charged with not serving Him. Now I know that's a statement that we got to work up to, because all of us ain't there yet. But think about what this man has said. My family needs me. My daughter needs me. But you're saying I can have them, I can be with them, but I can no longer preach Christ, who has made it possible for me to be who I am, for me to have the family. You know, sometimes we got to look at what the end result's going to bring. The end result is that he can't give up the person, the man, the God that has saved him and brought him out of darkness into the marvelous light. Well, what are you saying, preacher? Well, you're saying that Christ is more important than your family? Can I help y'all out? I love my wife. I love my daughter. But when you say you can no longer preach Christ, somebody said purpose. What is purpose? purpose is that the Lord has set you aside for this very thing. Although sometimes you may say, well, I don't know, Lord. But the person that he has set aside is the person that is you, that he sees something in you that will glorify and magnify him. Can I ask y'all a question? You looking for a job? Can I suggest to you that you'll work for the Lord? Now, I'm not saying you got to be no preacher. I'm just saying when you work for him, that just means service. Amen. Service means serving him. That means when you spread the message of Christ, it's going to be rough. It's going to be tough. You ever encounter anybody didn't want to hear what you had to say? Amen. You know, my wife and daughter say, I know a lot of stuff that people don't even care about. And I say, well, I got to tell it. I don't know who gonna care about it. And you have to be able to spread the gospel. Because you say, well, they don't care. You don't know if they don't care. Only thing, you don't care if they don't care. The only thing you have to do is do the thing that God has called you to do. Sometimes that's going to have blessings attached to it. Sometimes it might have some disappointment attached to it. But I still got to do it because he called me to do it. Right. And if we don't do it, we bring disservice to him. Now, I guess you could say, well, the Lord understands. He knows where I am. Yeah, he does understand. He does know where you are. That's why he called you to do what you were to do. Because he knows that you can accomplish this task with his power and with his strength. So don't neglect what God will do. He says he's the new creature. Old things have passed away. What things have passed away? Well, the thoughts that we used to have, the way we used to act, the way we used to think, the way we used to try to make it over. You know, there was a time back in the day, y'all forgive me for going back old school on y'all, but you know, people would say, well, I got it because I got the hookup. Any of y'all remember using that language? I got the hookup. Somebody gonna make sure that I make it through because I got the hookup. And let me ask you, are you hooked up to God? Yeah. Because if you hooked up to God, then you can really say with conviction, I got the hookup. Because the Lord is my author. He's the author and finisher of my faith. And because he is the author and finisher, what he began in you, a good work, he will bring to pass. And what do you mean a good work? Well, if he's called you, if he's put his spirit in you, that's a good work to serve him. And he's going to bring it to pass. That means at the end, you will accomplish that which God has given you purpose for. You will accomplish it. I know you will. Because the Lord does not do anything halfway. He doesn't do anything halfway. So what he does is he gives you the things that are necessary to accomplish your goal. Or I should say, accomplish his goal, because he has a plan for our future with an expected outcome. Things to prosper us, not to harm us. He knows what he's going to do through you. I heard somebody say, well, he ain't told me yet. Well, he knows the plans. The only thing we can do is trust in the plan. And if you trust God, that's another way of saying having faith. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Some of us, you're sitting here, you're probably thinking, well, Reverend, I ain't there yet. I ain't made that up climb in my faith yet. I don't have that upgrade in my faith yet. But you know what? The way to do it is to progress and trust him enough to go forth. It's easy enough to stop and get off. And I'm not challenging you or saying you're wrong for stopping and wanting to get off. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is sometimes you got to finish the journey. You got to finish the course. You got to go through the fight. You got to keep on going. You got to keep on making it. You got to go. I like fights. I'm not a boxer, but I do like watching fights. I know y'all heard them names: Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, Joe Frazier, Evander Holyfield, and Money Mayweather. You know, Manny Pacquiao. You heard all of them. But you know, all those fighters had one thing in common. They had people in their corner. And so that period in between rounds, after they fought a good round, they go and sit in the corner, and they got two people in the corner. They got one, and they could be the same person sometimes, but they got two people in the corner. One is a trainer who allows them to vent, to talk. They train them, but they also have somebody in the corner called a cut man. What the cut man does, when you get some bumps and some bruises and some cuts, the cut man uses everything to help stop the bleeding, help get the swelling down. They got this little thing called an end swell. So the cut man put this on and he'll rub it. You got some swelling coming up on you, he'll rub it like that. Help get the swelling down. Or if you got a cut, they get some Vaseline or something and they kind of put it in the cut and try to get it healed so you can go out and face the next round. You know what? You've been cut, you've been bruised, some of us are bleeding, right? But Jesus is the best cut man in the business. Because he can heal your broken heart. He can heal any cut, any wounds, any bruises that you have. He can heal it and he works on it. And he is also your trainer. Because he brought you up to know that this fight ain't over yet. And as long as you are in the fight, keep on fighting. You ain't done yet. I know you ain't done because I'm looking at you right now. You still going forward. So take that minute or two between the rounds. Gear up. Get it well so you can go out and fight. You know, after we leave here today, you're going to go out and have to continue to fight. It ain't easy, but you ain't knocked out. You're still going. So take a few bumps, take a few bruises. You know, back in the day, they used to have a place. They used to have a place, Felicia. It was called Freedman Railroad Salvage. And the thing about Freedman Railroad Salvage is, they said they had some cans that was a little dented, but everything on the inside was still good. As I look around the room, I can see some of y'all got a few dents, a few bruises. But you know what's on the inside? It's still good. And so we want to encourage you to let that good stuff come out. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Behold, all things have become new. You have some new stuff. You had an old man, but now you got a new king. Who are you serving? Who is lifting you up? All hail the king. You know, a king suggests servants. A king suggests slaves. A king suggests subjects. You are the subject of Jesus' attention. You are the slave to the Lord. And also you are the subject that he will work on, that he will strengthen you. He will bring that all to pass. When Paul wrote his letter to the church of Corinth, he was really reminding them of who they were and who they served. I'm just reminding y'all of who you are and who you serve. And because of the Lord, can I tell y'all something? I think y'all gonna make it. I think you're going to make it because I know who your king is. I know who your Lord is. And because I know that he will not withhold no good thing from us. That he will give us the desires. He will bless our heart. He will make it well. And knowing that he will make it well, don't get caught up in what it looked like. But get caught up in what he will do to make it look like him. And you know, God don't look bad. As a matter of fact, he looked pretty good. I'm looking at you, and if I see the Lord, and I do see the Lord, and the Lord is in us, y'all look good. Give God a hand praise. God is good. We want to extend the invitation.